I've quit a lot of games. Not because they were too hard, some of them were just annoying. Okay, some of them were also too hard. But I can't say that because the community will kindly tell me. You see, most hard modes aren't actually harder, they're just longer. They give the enemy more health and give you less. It's not always a test of skill as much as it is a test of patience. But why do some difficult games feel so bad, but then you play another difficult game and all of a sudden, oh wait, this one feels great? You see, most games think they figured out difficulty. They didn't, but some of them found what I like to call the secret sauce. And the difference is really obvious once you see it. You see, difficulty isn't just about numbers, it's about design. It's about how the game challenges you in different ways. It can be reaction time, tricky puzzles, RNG, 1 in 4 chance, long runbacks, no checkpoints. The point is, difficulty can come at you from all angles, and it's not just about how much damage an enemy deals, it's how the game makes you play. You see, every game has an ideal level of fun, a sweet spot where the challenge is perfectly tuned. Take combat, for example. There's a certain number of hits an enemy can take that matches their complexity. If this enemy has 2 moves, then hitting him 16 times is not going to be particularly fun. That's why I don't love games that offer 5 different difficulty options, because first of all, I'm not even sure which one to pick. A lot of the time they're poorly communicated. Take something like God of War. Give me a challenge is for those who want a more demanding combat experience. What does that even mean? Does it change enemy attack patterns, or does it just give the enemies more HP and I deal less? These are important details that I need clarity before I choose a setting. You're asking me to choose a difficulty, but I don't even know your game yet. So yeah, you say, just select normal. Okay. But in the back of my mind, I'll always be wondering what the other difficulties actually offered. If a level's too easy, oh, maybe I should have picked a harder difficulty. But anyway, the actual problem with artificial difficulty is that most games don't change any important patterns, they just add the numbers. More health, more damage, more enemies. That's not difficulty, that's inflation. This is called the sponge effect. Take a look at Skyrim, for example. Skyrim changes difficulty based on a graph. You play on expert? Oh, well, enemies are 1.5 times stronger. Same moveset, same timing. Skyrim's difficulty slider is literally just a global damage multiplier. It's the laziest form of design. And you know what? The damage thing, I don't even mind it that much. Make them hit harder. But if I have to be swinging for longer, then count me out, bro. Like, this makes the game less satisfying to play, not harder. But the opposite of the spectrum is also true. Like, take Witcher 3, for example. In Witcher 3, on Story and Sword, the normal mode, you barely have to refer to the bestiary to see weaknesses. Like, you can mostly ignore alchemy. These are 2 big aspects of the game you can basically ignore as you go kill things so easily. Or the worst one is when you die a lot and the game asks you to lower difficulty because you're struggling. Dude, I hate this. I hate when that happens. Not that I'm not saying that happened to me. I'm just, I would hate it if that were to happen. So, if artificial difficulty isn't the problem, what's the alternative? Well, what if I told you that the alien in Alien isn't actually hunting you? It's being fed your location by a second invisible AI that's watching your every move. Yeah, I'm not kidding. You start hiding in lockers, the alien's gonna start checking lockers more frequently. You see, the best games don't make enemies stronger, they make you adapt. That's reactive design. Good difficulty forces you to actually think. A hard game shouldn't be about more health, it should be about forcing the player to use every tool in their inventory. Inventory. A famous example is Resident Evil 4, where you play well, the game strangles your ammo a bit and throws more enemies at you. You play poorly and the game showers you in ammo and healing items and starts subtracting enemies from the mob. It's a silent ego boost. It makes you feel like you're actually good at the game. This is called adaptive difficulty, or also known as invisible accessibility, whatever. And it's tricky to pull off, because when you play a game and you progress through it, the game is meant to get harder, but the player is also getting stronger. And in the middle of it all, you have balance. It sounds like, oh hell yeah man, sounds like they sorted it out, right? Wrong. The issue with these kind of systems is that they kind of punish the people for doing better, and the better players can just game the system by intentionally doing badly to make the fight easier. You see, whilst this is true in theory and in fairly limited practice, it's difficult to implement in a wider genre of games, because not everything can be solved with extra loot and fixing AI behavior. So, what is the best difficulty setting? Well, you see, I'd rather have a tailored experience, one that's been carefully tested by the devs so I can experience the game as it was meant to be. It creates a sense of community, everyone's facing the same challenge, sharing the same experience, and it creates a unique connection between players. It makes everyone's struggles feel collective, which is awesome. It's what made the Souls genre so popular. Now, when we talk about one universal difficulty, there's a certain appeal to it. But here's the catch. How do you balance a game with a single difficulty setting that's supposed to be suitable for everyone? Well, you don't. Not every game needs to cater to every player. I mean, sure, you want your game to appeal to a wider audience, but it should never come at the expense of your core vision. If you compromise your design to please everyone, you risk ruining what makes your game special, and that's when you lose the heart of the experience. Oh, but what about accessibility? I feel like a lot of people use this as a counter argument, but we need to understand that accessibility isn't about making games easier, it's about removing unnecessary barriers. If a player has a disability or just slower reflexes, a hard game with no accessibility isn't challenging, it's literally unplayable. Accessibility in games will always be a positive thing that brings more people into the game. The key here is to offer a clear difference between the accessibility settings and the intended way of playing the game. But this is where it gets a bit messy, because on one hand, accessibility is important, more people being able to play the game is always a good thing. But on the other hand, some of the most loved games ever made don't try to accommodate everyone at all. No difficulty sliders, no safety nets, and somehow they still work. Dark Souls doesn't have difficulty settings. Enemies have bullshit attacks, you get hit a lot, areas are full of traps, no one's telling you where to go. Wait, why is this a good thing? Oh, because it is intentional. It's designed so that it will take multiple attempts to get through any given area. You're not expected to do it on the first try, you're expected to learn through repetition. Again and again and again and again and again. And again, you can look at the Souls games and literally watch difficulty evolve. They've always been built around learning, not punishment. You fail, you try again, you get a little further, that's the loop. But how do you deliver that difficulty? That's changed a lot. In the early days, like Demon's Souls, Dark Souls 1, the challenge came from what the game didn't give you. No bonfires nearby, no real tutorials, long runbacks, combat where every swing felt horrid and clunky and fucking annoying. You fast forward to Elden Ring, you've got bosses doing anime combos with 15 phases, but now you've got summons and ashes and busted builds and cheese. You can fight back. Kinda. You see, the best Souls game that handles difficulty correctly isn't even a Souls game, it's a Souls-like. Let me introduce you to something I like to call layered difficulty. See, Lies of P is a difficult game, right? It's a Souls-like, but it's got one universal difficulty. For every boss fight, you can summon help, and it's always the same phantom helping you. It's a little frowned upon, but it's perfect because it lets you enjoy the game if you're really struggling with a boss and don't want to spend 3 days on them. And you can do this for every boss in the game except for the last one. That one you need to do by yourself, but if you got this far, I'm sure you can manage this one too. It's a perfect example of difficulty onboarding, it lets you start easy and then progress towards the real challenge. That's why Lies of P is the perfect game to handle layered difficulty. Wait, hold on a minute.
Yeah, that's not true.
What's that?
They changed it.
Oh, for fuck. Okay, apparently as of summer 2025, they added the difficulty choice in Lies of P that has received mixed reactions. I've seen a lot of discussions about this. Some people say it's a good thing, they quit the game because of some hard boss and this made them come back and finish the game. Other elitists said this ruins the core essence of the game. A bit of, mixed reactions. Okay, that kind of severely fucks me over, guys. I mean, Lies of P was meant to be the climax of this whole video. Climax. And now I don't know what to say. I mean, I really don't have another game for you. I'm sorry. I guess thanks for watching. I don't know. Oh my god, Cuphead! Okay, Cuphead is great. It's a difficult game, everyone knows that, but the way they handle difficulty onboarding is great. You see, it has 2 difficult choices. Okay, you unlock 3 after you beat the game, if you want to make the game even harder. But the neat thing is that there's a clear difference between easy and regular mode. The easy mode changes more than just health and damage. Attack patterns are also simplified. Hell, sometimes entire phases disappear. You can play the entire game like this, but the catch is, because you haven't collected contracts, you only get them on normal mode, you can't actually fight the last boss. And I think that's a great way to handle difficulty and please both crowds. You've completed the game on easy mode? Cool, then you're definitely ready to go back and play the intended way. It's really good, man. So, if you look at all these games, Dark Souls, Resident Evil 4, Cuphead, they're all doing something very different on the surface. They're different genres, different systems, different players, but they all share one thing. They don't just make the game harder, they make you better.
Heed my words. I am Melania. Blade.
Shut the fuck up! You shut the fuck up!
And I have never...